IVM.
TFG Football is an IVM production, and you can also check out their other awesome shows like Geek Fruit with fellow and television geeks Tejas, Jishnu and Dinkar as they discuss the world of science fiction and nerd culture.
You're listening to TFG Football.
Brand new week of the TFG Indian Football Podcast. This is me, Kevin. Chiranjit is joining me via phone call. On this day, we all football fans are a bit sad. This comes as a shocker to us, and as it has come as a shocker to Mizoram football. Former Aizawl FC player Michael Lalremruata has taken his own life, and that is very tragic. Sad day for football fans all over, not just in Aizawl FC. Chiranjit, you got to know about this news. It's a very bitter news to take in, and it just hurts to know that one footballer is less from Mizoram.
Yeah, it's I don't know what exactly led to this. A lot of people have been left bamboozled by this, his family and friends, near and dear ones, and even his footballer buddies. It's just Michael Lalremruata used to be considered one of the bright stars of Mizo football. He was coming up as a striker from a very early age. He was playing for Aizawl FC during the time when they were pushing for an increased presence in the national scene. So 2012 Second Division League, he scores 10 goals for Aizawl FC, and he becomes the highest scorer of the league. And everybody pegged him to become, the next big thing. As Aizawl FC would go up, he was expected to go up with them as well. And he sort of faded away after that. There are some, reports of alcohol abuse which affected his performance. We don't know exactly what brought him down, but you so often hear this with Mizo footballers. Drinking too much is, bringing their game down or something like that. It's just that he sort of did not seem to translate into the new phase that Aizawl FC had when they, suddenly came into the top division. Then they went on to compete for championship soon afterwards. So in 2016, he left Aizawl FC after he was not getting much game time. He got overtaken basically in the ladder in the club, which became so much more competitive soon afterwards. He was still playing in Mizoram Premier League. This season he was with Dinkar FC, and he did not get to play much. And he was apparently discussing moving to another club, which played in some local cup tournament. And what shocks somebody is that hours before he took his own life, he told his friends on WhatsApp that I'm gonna be joining the practice in the new club in a week or something. So this is what I'm hearing. And hours later, he apparently drank too much and landed into depression and took his own life. So it's very tough tragedy to process. Aizawl FC have issued statements grieving his loss. The entire Mizoram football community is in grief right now, and as they should be, because this is not something you want to hear. Just somebody who had so much potential. He was still young, 24 years old. Yeah. The age was there, everything with him. And the scene at Indian football is such that there was nothing to be disappointed or, lack of opportunities is not there at the moment, because, it's full of, the rise of Aizawl FC, just creates so many opportunities for everybody. And just shocking for everyone to get to know this. At such a young age, we lose a footballer. That's the sad part, because he still, that's what, John I was speaking to, John Zoran-Sara, he's been part of the podcast a few times. He was telling me, the baffling part is that he still had so many opportunities ahead of him. 24, that's not the end of your career. You can still make a comeback if you perform well. There were enough opportunities that he could get if he kept trying, but sadly, just something happened that took him away from us. So Yeah, that's what has happened, and let's hope we don't have to deal with this kind of new stuff often in the future.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just sad to see a footballer do this.
yeah. So condolences from all of us at TFG to the grieving family. I hope things are better. And for everybody, all the budding, aspiring footballers, hope is there. Do not, even think about taking such drastic steps, because football is on the rise, and especially from the Northeast, where we see in under 17, most of the players are come from. Northeast is actually just the hub of Indian football. Never be disappointed. Try to give as your best as possible, and opportunities will show them you the way forward. And that's our message for all the aspiring footballers. Moving on, tonight is the start of round of 16 of the under 17. Will be kicking off tonight. The first game being Colombia and Germany. Are you looking forward to this game?
Yeah, I'm actually. I just changed my hotel last night. I'm still in New Delhi, so I'll be going to the game. Colombia, Germany, and tonight there's Paraguay, United States. After that, so I'll be. I've moved out to a very far away location from the stadium. So I'm looking forward to the very hectic and pushy and overcrowded metro ride to the stadium.
Yeah, now that
right
India is
about a few hours.
yeah, now that India is no longer in the World Cup, we have to continue the show. The World Cup is still going on, and at this stage where we cannot predict any team that can surprise or that can just dominate. So it's going to be exciting. Great matches coming up, beginning with the 5 o'clock kickoff. That is Colombia and Germany. So Paraguay will play United States at 8 p.m. today. So that's an interesting game. Both the American teams, obviously from different parts of America. So that's kind of good to see, and nobody had expected Paraguay, being in such a mix of.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. I mean,
Yes.
we predicted Paraguay would be there, and actually, just if you revisit it, the episode where we picked 16 teams that we thought would make it to the round of 16, we got most of it right. 14 out of 16 of the predictions actually came right, and we had Iraq, who kind of surprised us, and Niger.
Yeah.
Okay, and I
Honduras.
think it was Colombia. Honduras, yeah.
Honduras.
Colombia, we did not think would make it.
Yeah.
It was 14 out of 16. I think Iraq we did predict.
Iraq
I'll
was
have to pull up that list again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Niger and Honduras were the ones that surprised us. Something like that.
And they are in for a surprise as well, because Honduras meets Brazil in the last of
Actually, Kevin, we did predict Honduras. It was Niger and Colombia.
Oh, two surprise elements.
The surprise elements. And Colombia are facing Germany today, so let's see if they can surprise us any further.
Yeah. All right. That's about the round of 16. So this is going to be a knockout match, single game knockout match. And if it does end in 0-0 or a draw, it will head to the penalties, I believe, directly. I don't think there is any extra time.
No extra time, just penalties.
So
they're just following the MLS rules. Slowly, the football is getting MLSified. So,
All right. In other news, this is a great day for Chiranjit again. Why? Because it's the Kolkata club, Mohun Bagan, his favorite club. They have begun the new season on a great note by winning the Sikkim Governors Gold Cup. And that's a great way to start off a season, knowing that a new team can gel together. And this tournament, which is happening since almost 30 years without a break, Chiranjit?
Yeah, it used to be one of the major cup tournaments, and of course these cup tournaments sort of fell apart over the last 10, 12 years, and especially after the ISL came in and claimed an exclusive window. So most of the major clubs stopped participating in these tournaments. What we're seeing this season is that with ISL and I-League becoming simultaneous, these cup tournaments are sort of coming back into prominence. And we had East Bengal going out and playing in certain other tournaments as well. Mohun Bagan are playing in this after a long time actually. Sikkim Governors Gold Cup, they won it 9 times before that. They won it again this time, and they were the only club out there with a prior history of playing in the top division that was there. But what made this tournament tricky was that this was being played in Sikkim, which is at a high altitude, and we remember back in the days of United Sikkim how suddenly we would have a match being snowed out, which is a very important and interesting thing that is happening in India. Like in India, you have a match being cancelled due to snowstorms, and that used to happen with United Sikkim. So that's what made I-League so unique. Just brought us these incredible locations and moments. The Paljur Stadium where the tournament is held is also one of the most scenic, beautiful stadiums in the country. And it was the most important clubs that were out there were Mohun Bagan and of course Gokulam. Gokulam were playing. I'm not sure why they still have not changed the name to Malabar FC yet. I think they're waiting till the start of November to announce it. But yeah, they played, and neither of these teams were 100%. And this was sort of a primer in a way that just having your players sort of deal with the conditions out there, because now we're going to have 3 teams from Northeast India in the I-League, and so that means 3 times you'll have to go out to the Northeast and play, often in high altitude. Shillong has a high altitude, Aizawl has it, Manipur not so much. Imphal, but still quite high. For those who are used to the heights of Goa or Kolkata or the plains of India. So yeah, it showed. The first match that Gokulam played was against Patachakra, and Patachakra is a club from the Calcutta Football League, and it was not very good for them. Gokulam completely ran out of breath. Patachakra is an academy team, which is slowly making its way up in the regional leagues. But they had young players who had more of they did have extra air in their lungs, and they could outrun them. And that's what happened. Gokulam got knocked out in the very first match. And that sort of shows how things can go upside down up there. Yeah. And of course, Mohun Bagan played against Tibetan Army's team in their first match. It was a quarter-final match, and again, almost the same thing happened. Mohun Bagan players completely gassed out after the first half. The Tibetan Army team, of course, they are very much used to this, altitude, and they were playing with young, army men who had a lot of stamina. They spread the game around. They were outrunning Mohun Bagan, and it was tough for Mohun Bagan to sustain. The only reason Mohun Bagan won that match was that they managed to keep their defensive shape, which is courtesy their performances in Calcutta Football League. And they had a couple of good moments up front. I think it was Kroma who scored that goal again, and yeah, that was it. Mohun Bagan pulled through. Yes. Then they played the semi-finals, and that was against ONGC. This one was a bit more easier, so that was a goal fest. Then they played the final against Customs, and that was again, it showed them a bit of a hard time because Customs had young players who could run all over.
This is Kolkata Customs, right?
Yeah. So I think 2 prominent, Calcutta Football League teams and 1 prominent Mumbai team, Elite Division team. So yeah, it was still an early goal from Koma, and they won the tournament. And it's not so much about winning a cup, which helps. You win a cup early on in the season, that gives you a confidence boost. But the fact that they got such a long game time in one of the highest altitude stadiums in the country, that's going to do wonders for their fitness, and it's going to give them a sense of what to do in the latter days in the I-League. Because last couple of years, if you see, Mohun Bagan have a very terrible record in the Northeast. They lost to Shillong Lajong. They could not win when they needed to, and twice they went and lost to Aizawl FC. Yeah. And now it's more important than ever to perform well in the Northeast because you have 3 clubs from there. So yeah, they won the tournament. They donated all the prize money that they got to youth development in Sikkim football. which was a good gesture. And they're coming back with some silverware and a lot of confidence boost. We saw Diogo Ferreira get some game time, and he's doing pretty well. So yeah, it's all shaping up well. You know, the preseason has hardly ever been this elaborate ever since ISL came along, and it looks good now.
Yeah, so that's a great confidence boost for the team that's playing still not under the mentor of Mohun Bagan, that is Sanjay Sen, and Shankar Lal Chakrabarti still continues to take charge of the team, and this team is growing well.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. First, I mean, Shankar Lal is a more attacking coach than Sanjay Sen, and who knows that this might actually pay off for us. But we'll see how that turns out for Mohun Bagan. Right now, we have one more good tournament coming up. Durand Cup is happening in Kolkata this season, and we're going to see all the big guns play against East Bengal, Mohun Bagan once again.
That's
Durand Cup.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. So that was the roundup from Sikkim Gold Cup, and we will talk about Jamshedpur FC. We will talk about other ISL teams that have been going on tours, the pre-season. All that on the other side of the break. Come back to us.
Hello, I'm Sanjeev.
And I'm Tushar.
And this is the Rotom Out Podcast, a weekly show where we talk about motors and motoring in India. Cars, bikes, rickshaws, buses, friends, familiars, and time pass.
Find us every week on the IVM podcast app or any other app you might use. Stuck in traffic? Put on Rotomouth. Taking a while in the loo? Rotomouth is there for you.
Dude, that sounded particularly disgusting.
Thank you. But seriously, catch Rotomouth every week.
All right, welcome back after the break, and as we said, we will be talking about pre-seasons and the tours that ISL teams are going on. So beginning with Jamshedpur FC, they have head on to Thailand, a country that is known for its tourism, and Jamshedpur decided to go there for a pre-season football tour. Chiranjit, what are they up to?
Well, it's not just known for tourism, it's known for football as well. I think Thailand is the only one country in the ASEAN region which can easily do away with India on a football pitch. We've beaten Myanmar. I think we can easily take on Singapore. Thailand is the one country which we really need to sort of level up with if we want to go further. Thailand, Jamshedpur FC, they release this schedule. And it looks good. I mean, they start with the lower division teams and slowly work their way up to some of the more respectable teams out there. And this is what you need, because you're not like trying to win a cup, or you're not trying to create put on a show or something like that. These are not matches meant to be a performance for the masses or the fans. This is to sort of get you to gel with the team. Get the players to gel with the team. And being the very first time Jamshedpur FC are putting together a team, this is very crucial that they don't start on a too high of a note or too ambitious and then they fall apart. And it's also necessary for them to maintain the foreigner-Indian balance, which sometimes the ISL teams did not do in the past seasons. Like we saw Delhi Dynamos going to Europe and sometimes starting 9-10 foreigners, so stuff like that under Roberto Carlos, which does not translate into good performance in ISL, because you have to understand from the start who you can start and who you will have to bench. So all of that will come into the picture. It looks good at this point, the way Jamshedpur FC have devised their preseason in Thailand. They will come back. They will play against East Bengal, a preseason friendly, and they look good to go, man. They're basing themselves out of Kolkata, probably because the Air Asia is like this $5,000 from Kolkata to Thailand and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, I'm joking around, but it looks very mature for a new club, and that just shows that these people have been working with Indian football for a long time, and they just know exactly the right note to hit when you are preparing for a tournament like ISL. So it looks good.
And again, what was expected more, I was expecting from the coach, Steve Coppell, who hails from England, and he knows a lot of clubs around over there. So as teams have been heading to Spain and other countries where they played lower division clubs, they chose not to do that, and it makes sense to get in your squad.
I'll tell you why. Yeah, I'll tell you why they did that. Because for the first time, ISL teams will face the Indian summer. Yeah, it's gonna be hot around late February and early March, and they're gonna play the Super Cup also in April. So you have to get them to get used to the humidity, the heat, the whole deal, and you can get that right now in Indonesia. Sorry, not in
Thailand.
Indonesia, Thailand, that region. Right. Those regions have a similar climate than like India. And if you just, I mean, if you're playing in October to December, then yeah, you have a sometime in Europe. That's not going to affect much, because you're not facing a weather change or a climate shifting thing anyway. You're just playing October to December. But now that you have to prepare especially the foreigners who have never played in the Indian summer before, to have an idea that this is what's coming to you, and especially towards the end of the league when you're close to being gassed out for the season anyway. So yeah, it's good that they're playing in Thailand, and this is the reason many ISL teams are not going to Europe this time.
Okay.
It just makes no sense. If needed, if you need to really do something, just set up a camp in India and fly in a European team if you have to. Just like get a second or third division team from Europe to come in and play 2 or 3 matches against them in a span of 9-10 days. That's cheaper. So it's yeah. If you still want to lure players in with European holidays and want to use the facilities that's available over there because you don't have facilities here, yeah, that's completely up to you. But I don't think it actually makes sense to go to Europe at this point.
So talking about Europe and pre-season, Mumbai City has played a couple of games. They did win against UE Gandia. Forgive my pronunciation there. So they won 3-0. Now this is a side that plays in the lower division of Spain, and they've also played.
What lower division? Specify that, Kevin.
You really want to hear that?
Yes.
It's the 7th division in the Spanish league.
Ooh.
Okay, 7th division
but
is...
but an Indian lower league club playing a Spanish lower league club makes sense.
Really, that's what we are talking about. If you're really heading on to your pre-season to get some match experience, should it really be that lower tier that you're playing a club? It could have been various other ways to get into that, but could have been logistical issues, could have been changing schedule or something. But that's the reality. They are playing lower division sides as they have been doing, and I hope whatever benefits they plan to get from this, they do achieve with these pre-seasons. I'm not sure if I-League is ever going to do something like that. I-League is happy to play teams in and around the country who have good experience playing in the climatic conditions that actually where the tournament will be played. So I think it's fine for whatever the plans the ISL teams have. What do you think, Chiranjeev?
Yeah, well, it's okay. I mean, as I said against Jamshedpur FC, I mean, I'm making fun of Mumbai City, but this is not really, something of a bad note to start the whole thing with. You start with somebody who's lower in the division, and maybe when you play 3-4 matches out there, it's to go up to the second or third division. It's true that the ISL teams are not really, I mean, as they are now that they're not playing 10 or 11 foreigners. It's pretty. I mean, that they're not going to be able to keep up with clubs in Spain, right? Especially the prominent ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's again, they're hitting the right notes. There are no scheduling problems with this. This is what they need to do to slowly build the team up. Again, they have a new team here this time because the draft happened, and they don't have the Bengaluru FC players with them this time. So yeah, I don't see the team being as strong as last season, and hence they cannot just go gung ho about who they play in the preseason. And yeah, you just play the relatively easier opponents at the start of your preseason tour and slowly build up to the better ones. And maybe you will see them play against some third division, fourth division, or second division Spanish sides in the last few matches before they come back. But I don't really see them winning them by much. I think Luis Norton de Mato, he put it well. The India under-17 coach. He was talking about ISL teams going to Europe and playing friendlies against fourth or fifth division teams from over there, and they lose those matches so often whenever they are not playing 9 or 10 foreigners out there. So yeah, that's what is something that you need to look at and remember. And again, these are not places where you are going to show your power. This is just to get the players used to playing with each other. And that is what is so important this early when you are doing the preseason.
Yeah, it is about getting the feel of the team together and for the coach to try out his combinations and tactics because it's going to be a long season than it has been the last 3 years. So it could be the understanding of what conditions matter when you actually get onto the field with these new foreigners who will be here for a longer time. It's no longer
the other factor that we're missing, Karen, is that a lot of these teams are cutting budget because it's by the extravaganza that ISL puts on, we may not realize it, but these teams are losing a lot of money, and they're more and more realizing that it's throwing money down the drain does not really do anything for them. So that's why you have seen so many of the ISL teams don't have a marquee player this season. They have cut down the number of foreigners. They have cut down the total budget of the team to 17 crores, which is I-League level, really. So yeah, it's all these. The initial burst of the firecracker has gone off, and now they're facing a bigger season, which is again more expense. So now they're sort of learning to operate like a real club, which is what brings you certain tendencies that you see in I-League clubs, which is moderation. They cannot just go and play like somebody just for the sake of the show that it puts on. They have to think more diplomatically, and they have to be more cautious in whatever steps they take, and they cannot splurge. So, which may mean they'll have to play easier and cheaper opponents in the preseason. So yeah,
and I feel it's more of just getting a tour of the places that they visit, because once the season starts, there's no break that will be allowed to get into such tours or where the team bonds actually. So this is a great way to enjoy your holiday and plus play some practice matches. So that's more of something on the minds of the ISL club management. So moving on, we've got news that the ISL teams are getting in serious businesses, and their reserve sides will be plying the trade in the second division of the I-League. I think that's a great way to just build up your backup squad and really test those players who can be pulled into the first team. So it's a great way to go ahead. If not play other tournaments, I-League itself is a great way to get the team under getting them tested under pressure. And Chiranjeev, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, second division league is going to look more interesting with the ISL B teams in them. But I'm not very fond of the way the ISL B teams are being treated with kid gloves here, because these are not bad teams at the end of the day. FC Goa just played their first. It's called Goan FC, which is the developmental side of FC Goa. It just played its first match in the Goa Professional League, and they got a draw against one of the prominent clubs. So it's not completely, these are not sides that cannot compete out there. FC Pune City bought Pune FC's academy, and they won all the, 3-4 championships in the last 1 year with that team. And so yeah, these boys can play. And you have a ruling saying that, okay, under 23 team, it's going to be, you can only have 3 overage players. Yeah, okay, good. That is something you can get on board with. No foreigners. Yeah, good. Again, you need Indian players to get more exposure. But But like, why can't they play in the final round? Like the ISL B teams. By the way, the under 23 rule applies only to the developmental sides of the ISL franchises. Okay, the other clubs who play in the second division league can field senior teams. So okay,
Why
that part
is there a
okay,
band
but
of rules for only a few clubs? Why is that?
No,
Is
because
it
these
because
are
of
the
the
B
direct
teams.
entry? Is it because of that?
Yeah, maybe direct entry or the fact that this is just supposed to be a developmental side, while the others are competing for a promotion to the top division. So this is where it gets complicated. Even if the ISL B teams, they top the points table in the zones and they make it into the final round, they will not be able to participate in the final round. They're not allowed. I just don't understand why. Like, why will you not, like a Bengaluru FC team or the Chennai FC team that is playing in the second division league, if they make it to the final round, why don't those boys get to play more games? Because they have earned the rights. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe this is to make sure that the ISL franchises don't have to bear the expense of two teams that are traveling all over the country playing home away games. By the way, I think there was this news that second division is going to do away with the home away format. I think that's not going to be the case. The first leg, the first round is going to be a single venue, but the final round is going to be home and away. There are indications that's going to be the case. But why not let the ISL B teams play in the second division in the final round? I think in the end, you can have financial reasons or the fact that no, this is just supposed to be some exposure tour for the youngsters that the ISL franchises are developing, which is all well and good. But in the end, I think the reason behind is that imagine if ISL B teams wins the second division league. Okay, so now that ISL team has suddenly earned a right to play in the I League.
Okay.
So then you create a situation where they might say that paying money to play in the top division after the restructuring is not my thing, because I have earned the right by merit. So they might just join other clubs like East Bengal, Mohun Bagan, Aizawl FC, Shillong Lajong, who don't want to pay a franchisee fee in the restructured new top division league.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the reasons why ISL teams are not allowed to win the second division league, which is completely ridiculous. Because if you're playing, why are you playing if you're not allowed to win the trophy?
That's just too many conditions, and it's really weird to understand.
It's a very hotspotty situation right now, Kevin. It's weird. Yeah, that's the word. It's weird. Although let's not forget, it's great that ISL teams are maintaining developmental sides. I-League clubs also have reserve sides, but they're not full-fledged. So this is an indication that ISL teams are, actually you can see them contributing to youth development, contributing to player grooming, so to speak. This is one part of the equation that does not come into the discussion when we are talking grassroots or youth or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Player grooming is also a huge part of the process. A player who is 19, 20 years old is not yet able to perform in the senior level, still needs a lot of game time to get himself up to becoming a fully grown professional player. These are the kind of tournaments that complete a player. Okay, so under 23 teams in the second division league is a great idea, but allow them to win. If they're playing, you might as well just, if they deserve to win, why can't they win? That's the weird part about it.
Yeah. Hopefully there's some clarity on why this is happening, and I hope fair play prevails there, and competition is required to be that way. And when you start putting conditions in the format for a couple of clubs, that really throws the competition word out of the window. And so that was from the ISL news that the reserve sides will be playing in the second division. So that brings us to the end of the show. If you're listening to us on YouTube, do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and also download the IVM Podcast app, which is available on Android and iOS. You can also listen to us on major podcasting apps like SoundCloud and iTunes. We will get you more updates on the FIFA Under 17. We will talk about the matches that happened tonight. We will talk about them tomorrow. Come back to us tomorrow. See you.
That was Tantrik Steve from Hansraj College, Delhi, performing at IIT Bombay's Mood Indigo. Just like them, there's a lot of new talent and art coming out of colleges all across India, but unfortunately most of this goes completely unnoticed or ignored. To fix this, we started ATKT.in. Hi, I'm Ankur, I'm a musician and a rapper, and I found that one of the best things about being an artist myself is finding new talent. Through ATKT.in, Tanya, my colleague who's a dancer, and our whole team really is putting all of our efforts into discovering and promoting all the coolest talent that's coming out of colleges all across India. And this goes up on our website, our social media, TV, radio, and now, of course, this podcast with IVM. Make sure you go to our website, support the talent with your likes, your shares, your comments. All of that really matters. Go ahead, check it out. ATKT.in.
एक्सक्यूज मी भैया, एक्सक्यूज मी.
बोलिए मैडम.
मेन्यू में क्या है?
मेन्यू में सीन अनसीन है, पॉडकास्ट है, ऑन कोर्स है, साइरस है, मेड इन इंडिया, रीडिस्कवरी प्रोजेक्ट, एम्पावरिंग सीरीज, सेक्स वेक्स है, IVM लाइक्स है, सिंप्लीफाइड है, कीपिंग इट क्वियर है, थिंग्स एंड डेस्टिनेशंस है, माय नेबर जकरबर्ग है और द फैन गराज है. आपको क्या चाहिए?
एक बार रिपीट कर देंगे क्या?
रिपीट नहीं करता हम. आप जाओ IVMpodcast.com पे और सुनो ये सब, या फिर डाउनलोड करो उनका ऐप. सब आपकी उंगलियों पे.